A brief message from your friendly neighborhood editing Jordan. We tend to try to keep things pretty PG-13 around here, but this is an improv podcast. So, who knows what we're going to say. Sometimes we throw in some swearing, some sexual content, and some violence. So, as a general warning, viewer discretion is advised. Also to be noted, the opinions stated about a certain tabletop role-playing game are just that, our opinions. We love the game and we like talking about it. So, any criticisms are really just all in good fun. That being said, wizards, please hire us. All right, with that out of the way, let's get on with the show.
You're laughing at something. I don't understand what's so funny.
I can't. My brain is fried. I
still haven't told you guys that my legs are still sore from Ren Fair, actually.
What happened?
That's valid.
Is it?
I think, well, I spent much more time walking during this Ren Fair than I think we usually do. Because I was going around, because TJ and I were kind of Sherpaing the two new ones who were with us. So we were going around all over the place with them. And it did that thing where it progressively got more sore the more days I was not at Ren Fair, because I was where I work, I do a desk job, so I mostly just sit. So I think not moving a lot for most of the day really made my legs angry with me. And now they're very sore and have been for like 2 days.
Rip, my dude.
Whack. I just took off all my clothes when I got back. Hey everybody, welcome to the Nat One Podcast, aka Nope, because nope, you're not gonna want to hear what we're about to have to say. I'm Pertuset.
I'm Levi.
And I'm Jordan.
And that made you not sore? That's how you that fixed it? That kept you from getting
All I'm
sore?
saying is you were sore, I was not,
I'm learning that your solution to every problem is just to take off your clothing.
Dude, wait till you hear what happens when I feel guilty about eating a whole tub of ice cream.
Okay. We went to a Renaissance festival recently, everyone.
Yes, we did.
Last weekend.
This is our Renaissance Festival episode.
Yay!
I suppose we'll start with what actually happened, but we'll circle back to the night before later.
Yeah.
I wasn't there for that. This will be my first time hearing of whatever the hell happened.
Let's just say I set the tone. All right. I'm kidding.
If you had to take a guess, Jordan, about what happened, no, I'm kidding.
If I had to guess, I would imagine that it's exactly how Colossal Con started off, which is strangely exactly on topic from what we were talking about.
Pertuset got naked. No.
Exactly. It's a solution for everything.
The night started with Levi sitting in a Walmart parking lot for like 30 minutes.
We just said
without
we're
having
not
to.
going to start with the night.
We're going
before.
backwards.
Circle back. Okay, so first off, let's not talk about the complications. Let's talk about the fun first, because again, even the drive there was something to discuss. But we get there more or less. And first thing, my mission this year at Ren Fair, now that we've been going a while, I don't have a lot of money, so my mission is never to buy stuff because I can't. Case in point, I think I can barely cover rent this month. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna eat all the sweet food, because last year I tried to eat all the food. Check out our episode last year to see how that went. Spoiler alert. I took off all my clothes that night. But I don't know where this bit came from, by the way. I don't do this in any of these situations. But it started off nice. There was a very interesting new food at the Ren Fair this year, called chimney cakes, and I don't know if this is something.
Chimney cakes.
Yeah, they're really good. I don't know if this is. They might have different names other places. I don't know if it's just this vendor. I don't know. To describe
I think it's like a street food. I think it's sold other places.
I know that the vendor that we had go to other places, but I don't know if they're in other states or countries even. But look it up if you want to follow along at home. Chimney cake. But they basically they'll have a whole like what do you call it, like a rod over a fire, and they'll wrap dough on it and layer it over itself, and then they'll chop it up into probably 5 inch long, maybe 6 inch long pieces, and you can get a sweet one or a savory one. The sweet one that you can get Nutella or ice cream or or strawberries and some other stuff in there.
We learned you can't get all three in one.
I learned that.
Ah, it's a Hungarian street food.
I knew it was street food. It's great.
Do he making me hungry?
It did not make me hungry. It made me full satisfied even. Made me put my clothes on, but
God,
Is that how that works? Is that
yes, indeed. Also, the cakes themselves were coated in cinnamon sugar if they were sweet, which I thought was delicious. Now, the savory version I cannot speak to because Jordan had that one. So, Jordan, if you would like to.
It was really good. It was like, so the dough itself is not like super sweet. It's more the stuff that's in it. They do brush it with some kind of like vaguely sweetened butter when they're cooking it. But it wasn't like super sweet. They had the chimney cake dough and it was like wrapped in the chimney, and then there was a hot dog in the middle of it, and it was really, really good.
Yeah. That was our first mission because we three, well, Jordan, myself, and my
I
roommate.
won.
Yeah, we were early. Jordan was earliest. My semi-early, semi-lack of early was by design. We still waited in line a little bit, but I still think it was fine. We were still pretty close to open. So that was our prize, was chimney cakes.
Mhm.
But then we waited for the rest, and the rest of the day went on. So Levi, why don't you begin describing what you recall after getting through?
after getting through?
Yeah, getting into Ren Fair.
Okay, well, we get there, and this was quite kind of humorous. Everyone on the not everyone in the audience, but from time to time we've had a guest on who is Ashlyn, and she's been in some of our shorts and stuff. So she's been around. She's one of our friends. Ashlyn was at Ren Fair for other reasons already. Basically, she's technically, I guess, employed by the Ren Fair.
She's a knight and she's a badass.
And so she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna come to the front gate and see all you guys when you get there." My group, who I was driving, we were carpooling in separate cars, and my group got there last. We'll get to that eventually, but right now, what's important is we got there last. Somehow, Ashlyn, who has been there before all of us all day, missed them as they came in, like right when it opened. Stood there for like another 30 minutes and then immediately saw us when we walked in and finds us. And so we're like, "Oh, do you know where the others are?" She's like, "No." Great. Well, one person in my group wants coffee. So do you know where we can get coffee? The other side of Ren Fair from where we are right now. Our friends were like 15 feet from us to the right.
We were eating chimney cakes.
Yep,
Yeah.
we were eating breakfast.
So we ended up walking all the way across the Ren Fair to the opposite side before finding them, so one of us could get a cup of coffee. And then someone managed to get service. I think it was Taryn.
Yeah.
And we managed to message each other and find out where everyone was. So then we met up back at the chimney cake area, whatever you want to call it, near where they were selling those. And then we found them.
If you're not familiar with Ren Fair when you're listening to this, I don't know how to help you. But also, at least at our Ren Fair, service is abysmal. So there is no service.
Yeah.
Which
We're out in the middle of rural Ohio in the woods.
it complicates matters. It adds to the level of disconnection that we had.
We do.
I'm gonna get walkie-talkies next year.
To the Ohio
Not
Renaissance
an awful
Festival,
idea.
which I've heard the Ohio Renaissance Festival is one of the bigger ones.
I hope so. I think
So-
Texas
And it's ever
is
expanding.
massive.
Yeah.
True.
But that is the one we go to just for viewer comprehension. If you
Yeah.
want to, like, you could look up like a little map while we're talking
Mhm.
about it
The
and figure out
fairgrounds
where
are
we were.
really, really cool. They have been ever expanding. They built like new areas and stuff in the last couple of years, and the fairgrounds are permanent. They stay up all year round. And they just like open and shut down the buildings as they're used, and it's really, really cool.
You know what's weird is
What?
sometimes the restaurants that are there are open even when the fair's not going on.
You're telling me we can get turkey legs any time of year?
Because, well, I
Mm.
don't know, but because one of my friends, who was one of the people you guys met, the one you guys kept saying looked like someone else we know, went
Yeah.
there like in the middle of spring one time to get, I think it was like to get pizza or something, but
What?
he didn't know that it was the Renaissance Festival. He just like found it on maps, like the restaurant.
Mhm.
Okay, important follow-up question. Does the pizza also take 3 hours when it's not Run Fair season?
I don't know. I don't remember the story. It might not have been
I bet
pizza.
it
It was
do.
just some food stuff. And he
Mhm.
was like, "Oh, there's this place out here that we could go get. Let's go try it." And then he said that was his first time being there ever.
That's
And he
so
thought it
funny.
was
In
like
the
so
off-season.
weird because there was no one there. The
It
whole
would be
place
pretty
was like
weird.
That's
empty.
amazing.
And
Yeah.
yeah, no, it was
That's like some sideways version of liminal.
yeah.
Oh, well, you know,
Uh-huh.
But yeah, then we did
Similarly-
all the standard Ren Fair stuff.
yeah, we watched people in armor beat each other up. Really
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah.
Always recommend that.
Especially when they get the chairs.
And especially when one
Yes.
of them is our friend.
Yeah.
Yes. Which we got to check out some of her gear afterwards, which was cool. That was fun. And she described to us the excruciating process of putting all that on and taking it off and how that's like.
There's
Which
a reason
helps
it
you-
takes an amount of time in D&D.
Yeah, which I was about to say, which helps you appreciate through experience or just, sort of empathy, what that would be
Mhm.
like for a character in a TTRPG.
True.
No, it needs to be a free action.
You're just wrong.
Taryn,
Uh-huh.
doff your skin.
But
No.
I just imagine like a very loud, wet, squelching noise after Taryn says "bet."
No, no.
that's really funny.
That would be
Oh,
good.
give me
That
that,
would be
ugh.
good.
I hear it. Stop it.
So yeah, that was great. Ashlyn also
Tearaway skin.
regaled us. Ashlyn also regaled us with a very funny story about accidentally punching somebody with water
Mhm.
or a drink. I don't know if it was water or not, but
Because her husband got revenge on her
Mhm.
because
Something.
the two people were both also in the same group of knights that beat each other up for our entertainment.
Yeah. It was all for entertainment's sake.
No, they viscerally hate each other and want
well,
to kill each other.
It's a vicious rivalry.
for entertainment.
Yeah.
They do it, but they do it because of the crowd. No.
Because of the implications.
Then, what even happened after that? Did we go straight to Mud Show?
Yeah, well, we got
We went to the Mud
separated
Show
and
area.
ended up at Mud Show.
Oh, that's
Because that
right.
was, we kind of ended up in a diaspora a little bit across the fair because I
Yeah,
had to
'cause
go
we had some
take Steve
time
to car
before
time
Mud
out.
Show.
Mm-hmm.
So we all went over to the Mud Show area, and then some people went out to take stuff to their cars. Some people were like, "I want to go around and buy things because we have like an hour and a half." So we did. That was my group broke off, and then I think some of you just kind of stayed over by Mud Show.
Yeah, I didn't have money, so I was like, I'm content to just sit right here.
Yep.
So me and Pertuset just hung out for like an hour.
Indeed. We talked about politics, and I think we talked about something else too. I think we talked
Oh.
about JRPGs. Oh, was it Umineko? Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
it was.
Well, I really want insight on what you guys were talking about. So were you talking about the recent political crisis with Henry IV, or what's going on?
We
there?
were saying pro witch. We're pro witch.
Pro witch, really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how Edward the King is gonna feel about that. When you, oh, okay, well,
I wish we could have the sound effects in Zoom.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my Mud Show t-shirt.
well, there you go.
Mud Show
That's
is
a
Mud Show.
true Edwardian supporter right there.
Mm-hmm. One of these years, I'm telling you, I don't know when. One of these years, we got to be up front and center.
Oh,
Reminds me of what happened in the mud show because I was looking while they were like splashing around trying to figure out how many rows back it goes, and I see a child, and I lean over to Levi and I say, "There's a child in the very front row wearing all white and pink. This is
Yep.
going
Yep.
to end very badly."
That child was stuck within the same pose ever since the first splash. They stuck a pose of like, ew, I just got hit with something gross
Mhm.
from the get-go, and they did not move because it kept happening.
they got stun locked. They got.
They did.
That's the goop for you.
True, it was goop.
It was
And
goop and
then
occasionally movement.
So true.
TJ, our good old classic TJ, who is a rare guest on here, but is a guest no less, decided to get some premium seating by climbing a tree in the midst of the
Yep.
mudatorium, as they call it,
And then
and
got
was quickly
stuck up there.
surrounded by
He was
children,
assailed by children.
and it was so funny. There were just a bunch of children climbing all around him. Parents didn't care that there was a grown adult man in that
Yeah, no.
tree.
In the
with
tree.
And he
them.
was just like doing his best to ignore them. It was.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And then eventually the kids left him, but then other people joined him again. It was something.
Yep.
It's
Oh,
really
he
funny
thought he
to
beat the
see though,
system.
because he enters and he just makes a beeline for the tree.
Every time. Every time.
It is the best seat in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you want to get mudded.
Unless you want to get mudded.
Mm-hmm. We also, Jordan, should we tell them the TikTok we planned to do and how funny it is, how it turned out?
Yeah, it would have been really funny if we would have done it. Okay, so the trend on TikTok, because I'm a Chapel Roan fan, and there's been the trend this year of like, oh my God, I hope they play Hot to Go at things that are not Chapel Roan concerts. And so I was like, before we go to Ren Fair, I was planning we were going to make content while we were at Ren Fair. That didn't end up happening because we were too busy having fun at Ren Fair. I said we should do one of those TikToks at the mud show and be like, oh my God, I hope they play Hot to Go. And then cut to them like splashing and maybe doing like the how many rows is it going to be in the splash zone. And then as a pre-show to the mud show, one of the members of the mud show troupe comes out and does like a nose whistle ocarina thing to hype up the crowd.
He does it every year.
He does it every year. It's a great part of the show. And he takes requests from the audience. And he actually did end up playing Hot to Go.
Lo and
Yeah.
behold, would you
It was
believe it?
crazy.
Internet?
I was very happy. I got to do
that
the Hot to Go
someone
dance.
said play Hot to Go. So,
Oh,
but he also did. I remember it was the first thing that someone said, and he was like, "I'm gonna do it at the end." So he made
Yeah.
sure to save it for last.
The first one he did was the Bluey theme song.
Yeah.
Which was also crazy because the mud show is not G-rated.
No,
No.
not at all.
People
But there
bring their
are
kids,
usually
though.
several children there.
Yep. I think people just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
There was something else I was going to mention. I think I described it to Dylan. I can't remember. It might have been somebody else. That I find mud show so interesting because of their pre-show. It's always a time capsule of the era that you go to it. Because the pre-show when we first went, he played Darude Sandstorm.
Oh my
Yeah.
And I
God.
was just like,
Yeah.
wow, the difference between that, and I'm sure he probably did the Nyan Cat song at a point. And then there's another timed song he
But
did.
even the first time we went, Darude Sandstorm was still kind of old at that point.
Yes. And then now he's doing Hot to Go. It's crazy. Now I'll tell you one that's evergreen that he plays every year is always All Star though.
All Star is a good time.
All Star is always one of the ones he does, and I'm like, it's evergreen.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's Mud Show.
Shudmo.
They only have like 4 shows. They're great. They're all great. The thing I love the most about them is I can't remember the details if I watch a different one from the one that I did last year.
Yeah.
So every time I'm always like, oh my gosh, he fell in mud. Like
Which
I
is
do
the
think-
entire bit.
I do think they make little changes every once in a while because this year they added a little song at one point that I didn't remember being because I'd seen the show that we have seen. I think this was like my 3rd time seeing Jercules.
Dang.
And there was a little ditty in there that I didn't remember being in there the past 2 times.
Which one?
The little Zeus song.
Oh,
that he
yeah, I
did.
don't remember that one either.
Yeah. So they add stuff every once in a while, but not too drastic of changes.
Well, I
True.
think it's really interesting, and this is the communications interest in me, that I think you are right. I think the show changes every year because I think that it's the best example of like verbal human storytelling. Because I'm pretty sure they don't actually have a script, like, or if it is, it's a very loose, like bullet pointed thing, or they rewrite it at the beginning of everything because the stories are always the same. But I'm pretty sure they put in new jokes every single year, and it tends to change. And
Mhm.
we didn't mention all of the shows except for the Viking show, I think, but even that has like some actual mythology basis. All of the shows are like retellings of famous stories because we went and saw Hercules. But the other ones, they do a retelling of Dante's Inferno, and then they also do a retelling of Beowulf, which Beowulf is my favorite, and then they do the Viking
Mhm.
show. So they are actually like they're referencing real literature, and it's actually a pretty good retelling whenever they do the the shows, but it's really funny. It's such a good time.
Oh shoot, we gotta go to the Dante's Inferno one next time because then we can be like Beatrice. Um, dang.
That's a good one. We never make it though, because we always do the mud show like in the afternoon, so that's why we always end up
Yeah.
at Beowulf or at
We're gonna have to
Eh,
switch around our joust and mud show
well,
times.
I think the problem is it usually takes us like 2 hours to find each other every
That
yeah,
too.
time.
walkie-talkies next
The
year. I'm doing it.
walkie-talkies
We're
would be
gonna
pretty
rent
good.
a bus and
Yeah, true, the Ren bus. Oh.
it's one of
But
those like small little airport transit buses that we
Mhm.
can.
Now, this is the point where I have to go back in time a little bit to describe a situation because it's important for the next story. Yeah, I know. Nope, I'm
Oh,
back.
Non-linear storytelling.
Indeed, this is a what do they call it? Subtle foreshadowing.
indeed. I love those videos
Those are really funny where it
so
just
much.
cuts.
Anyway, so I asked months ago in preparation for Ren Fair to give everybody lots of time to decide and to figure it out if we wanted to do a group cosplay because I thought it would be fun. And these unreliable bozos
I said I would.
all
I
tell
also
me,
said I would.
they all tell me, they say, I'm not gonna do it. It's gonna be uncomfortable. It's gonna cost money. I did it last year. I don't want to do it this year. Excuse after excuse after excuse. And so I was like, fine, then I won't do one. Um, and then the night before, I'm talking with Levi, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, me, two of our other people that's coming with us, and I think, or just those two, or those three at least, are all wearing costumes. And I already knew Jordan was, I knew Ashlyn was, so I was like, well, dang, now there's gonna be fewer people not wearing costumes than those wearing costumes. So I was like, I gotta do something. Now, I was out on the town with my folks that day. So we were running around shopping, and lo and behold, we went past J.C. Penney, and I was like, we got to make a stop.
You got it from a J.C. Penney.
Yes,
No,
sir.
he got part of
Part
it
of
from the
it.
J.C. Penney. He got another part of it from somewhere else.
Indeed. Um, so I have the good idea because one of the things we were gonna do for a group cosplay that was an option was King of the Hill characters because I was like, that's simple, it's cheap, it's gonna be comfortable, and it will be funny and recognizable. So I was like, I need to come up with this costume. So I put together as much as I could, as quickly as I could, an impromptu Hank Hill at Strickland Propane costume. It was not perfect. I did not have a haircut in time for it, and I did not have boots for it. But otherwise, I was about as spot on as I could get. Other than a patch, I was missing a patch too, but I made an impromptu patch with a sticker. um, Now the reason I bring that up is so I'm walking around wearing jeans, a belt, and a denim jacket with an undershirt and this name tag looking thing. And after the mud show, we did a few other things which we'll get into. I'll let someone else talk about those. But we had heard you can get these special seats at the joust. So I was waiting at the side of the joust box to get these tickets, and I didn't want to lose them because I was like, this is the last joust of the day, and I want to do this. So I'm sitting there an hour before they even let you buy the special tickets, just standing, which is, mind you, where I'm standing at is across from where the entire other audience is all their seating, and they're
And there are
doing a
other
different
shows going
show.
on before the
Yeah.
joust, so there are tons of people there.
Just watching.
And yeah, people were just looking at me, and from what I heard from other people, they thought that I was like I resembled a maintenance guy waiting for someone to show me where the problem was
Yep.
because of my costume.
Yep.
And I would occasionally check my phone to see what time it was, and they thought I was like looking for a text or something.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
which I thought was really funny.
Mhm.
Oh, anyway, that's my story about that. We can talk about the joust later, but now somebody can talk about the in between mud show and
I was gonna say, are we on the
not.
topic of costumes now? Because I have some costume stories if we're gonna
Sure,
talk
go
costume.
ahead.
So if you haven't seen the video yet about me building my dragon puppet, Steve got put in a car timeout halfway through the Renaissance Fair because he was very cool and he looked good for a select number of hours. But I'm gonna take us back to the chimney cake stand for a brief second because I built a dragon puppet that utilized one of my hands to operate the main feature of said dragon puppet. And somehow it didn't dawn on me until I got to the Renaissance Fair why that might be an issue. And so we start the day off by me trying to enter the Renaissance Fair. I was the first one that gets there. And so I'm like pulling up my ticket and stuff, and I have my ticket saved to my Google Wallet. And I go to open up my Google Wallet and my phone locks, and I'm like, okay, no big deal. Apparently after my phone had locked, the Google Wallet decides that it needs my thumbprint in order to unlock for me to access my cards that are in my Google Wallet. And I only have one thumbprint saved, and it's to the hand that's in the dragon head.
Yeah.
So I get into the Renaissance Fair. I'm standing there, I'm waiting for anybody else to show up, and it's a good half hour, and I'm standing there, I'm like, dang it, my arm's getting a little sore already. God damn it. But it's fine. I brush it off. We're good. It's still early in the morning. We're grooving. Finally find Pertuset and TJ, and we go to get food. So we roll up to the chimney cake stand, and I'm like, yeah, I want food because I haven't eaten in like several hours, and I drove multiple hours to get here. And so I go to start ordering, and I try to get my wallet out of my purse. I only have one hand. I do get the wallet and the card out, but my phone has to go somewhere. So the phone goes in the dragon's mouth. But I still have my wallet and my card in my hand. And then I realize, shit, I can't put this away with one hand. And then the guy hands me the ticket to go claim my food at the other window. I will remind you, phone is in dragon mouth, card and wallet separate in other hand, now trying to take card from dude handing me a ticket. And then I make my way over, still holding my wallet and my card in the other hand with the dragon holding the phone. And then the lady at the window tries to hand me my hot dog.
Yeah.
I have no hands free, so I have to hand my phone off to Pertuset, and I have to hand my wallet to TJ. And then I take the hot dog and have not learned my lesson and have both of them put the wallet and the phone in the dragon's mouth.
Yeah.
And so then
Wish
I
you
try to
didn't have him
carry
put the hot
this
dog in
stuff.
the dragon's mouth.
I'm not gonna lie, I tried it and then I rethought it real quick. So then I realized I'm gonna drop my wallet. So I have TJ put my wallet back in my purse, but I still have the phone in the dragon's mouth. And so as we're walking to go find a table to go eat breakfast, my phone keeps trying to fall out of this goddamn dragon puppet because I don't have another hand to catch it because I'm holding the hot dog in one hand as well as like sauce packets and stuff, and also trying to look out and find seating with everybody else. And then we sit down to eat breakfast, and all of the magnets that are attaching the dragon to my body pop off. And
Yeah.
TJ had
Holy.
to dive under the table to find one of the magnets because I couldn't find it.
Yeah, Steve was being rowdy.
Steve was having a
Holy.
problem. So yeah, Steve got worn for about a total of 5 hours. Looked pretty cool while he was doing it.
Indeed.
But ended up going to a car timeout because also, once again, did not realize the problem of having my arm in the puppet. I have circulation issues where my heart rate randomly spikes, and that happens a lot with like changes in posture and things like that. And so my arm was getting tired, and so I decided to switch what arm was controlling the dragon head puppet. And so I switched the arm, and now I have my left arm in the puppet, my right arm's free. And I put my arm down, and about 10 seconds pass, and I'm like, oh, I can't see anything. And so we're in the middle of the Cincinnati Barbarian show, and I'm standing there. I'm like, yeah, my fingers are numb and my vision is black. Okay. And so I turned to, I think I said to Pertuset, because I don't even know who I talked to at that point. I'm like, I want to go put Steve away. And just
Yeah.
kind of wandered off and got lost in the Renaissance Fair because I was on the verge
I
of
didn't know
blacking
that.
out while holding this stupid puppet. And so I finally get to my car, dump this thing unceremoniously in my trunk, and yeah, I accidentally spiked my heart rate to 205 and had to sit in my trunk for a hot second to get my heart rate to go down. Steve was a great
Holy-
idea, guys.
Holy moly, the things we do.
He looked
Ren
so
Fair.
cool though.
And we wonder why Canon didn't or dressed like that. It makes sense now, doesn't it?
No.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan, for reference, it's in the chat already. What
I didn't open whatever you sent.
My
you gotta look at it.
dress experience was relatively nice.
Oh, once I got rid of Steve, the costume that I was wearing, the rest of what I made was very comfortable for the Renaissance Fair. But yeah, Steve has some. Steve is a prototype and has some kinks to work out.
I was
Not to make the sequel, Stever.
I was pretty much just wearing a tabard the whole time, so
Yeah.
and I had on boots. I had on really nice boots. I like
We are
those
gonna make
boots.
fun of him a little bit though for two things. The first of which being, at one point he dropped his gloves, and they're not like, the type of gloves we know nowadays. They're the old-fashioned gloves, so they flared out hard after the wrist, which were fitting for the costume. But when I saw them, and then TJ put one on because he had dropped them and didn't know he dropped them, yet. And TJ put one on, and I was like, that looks really funny, because TJ was just wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and then he put on one of those gloves, and it looked hilarious. And so I was like, I want you to wear those the rest of the day. And so then we catch up, and Levi sees that he has his gloves, and it's fine. And then, like, probably 5 minutes later, Levi's like, okay, can I have my gloves? Because it's kind of chilly. And I was losing it. This man's wearing this whole tabard, and he's like, my hands are cold.
I also have bad circulation.
Oh, there was another reason to make fun of. I can't remember. Maybe not make fun of, but he also ended up dumping his in the car later as well.
Well, you got rid of your sword, not
No,
your
no,
costume,
yeah, I took my
right?
sword. I kept on the outfit the
Oh,
whole
my
time.
bad. I can't remember. I was too busy getting a heat stroke.
I
I
will
think that was
say
also why Steve wasn't going very well.
around noon, in the noon hours when the sun was high, I was pretty sweaty underneath mine.
Mhm.
And I did take my sword back to my car because that's my thing every year is I buy a sword. Well, this year I bought one that was real. In years past, I've bought like pop culture ones. So I've bought like some Lord of the Rings swords, like a Legend of Zelda one year. Well, this year I just bought a straight up real sword, and they were like, we don't have a scabbard for this one, so you can't like put it on your belt. We have to give it to you in a box. So I was like, okay, I'm not walking around with this all day.
Yeah.
So I took it out to my car. Didn't tell you guys about this. I might have, but just not in great detail. It took me like 45 minutes to find my car.
What
Oh
happened?
no, because you got
It was just there were so many cars, and so I was walking up and down the aisles of all the cars trying to find my car. Also found out my car alarm, the keys do not work for it. Like my keys cannot set off my car's alarm.
No.
So like I literally had to go like all the way up and down several rows of cars. Eventually found it, point my keys directly at it and press the alarm button. Nothing. So I'm like,
That's really funny.
thanks. I really appreciate you for that. And then I dumped my sword, and I did take off everything except for my pants for like 15 minutes and just sit and let like the wind go through me because I was wearing underneath all of that. You guys didn't see, but I was wearing a wife beater underneath all of it.
That's
So
really funny.
it was me in my black, like baggy Renaissance pants with these tall riding boots on and a wife beater. And there were like all these people walking past my car, people who were leaving Ren Fair who just like saw me going like, oh, like out there.
You need a mid-Ren Fair car break where you just pass out in the parking lot.
I so wish that somebody had gotten video of that and just captioned it, man.
Yeah, it was very much a man moment. And then I put it all back on and walked back in. And then after I cooled off a little bit.
My costume was quite fine. It was also probably the least involved, but I was simply upset at the fact that we went towards the latter half of October and it was 70 degrees outside.
I was looking forward to it being cold, and I was not given cold.
Yeah. It's also funny because this was like the only day in the last few weeks where it actually has been pretty warm in October.
Yeah.
So we fully went with the expectations like that it hadn't been warm until then.
Yep. We were lied to.
Well, and because the seasons in Ohio are so unpredictable, I drove to the Renaissance Fair with the heat on in my car. Because when I left our hometown, it was cold enough to warrant turning the heat on. I wore a sweatshirt in my car with the heat on the way there.
Yeah.
Freaking Ohio.
Indeed. Then we saw the joust.
The joust.
I think that was the next big one. Did some other stuff in between. I think it was mostly shopping, except for me, who stood in line for an hour.
Are we gonna talk about how the joust was literally rigged?
Yes.
It was literally rigged.
It was literally rigged.
I felt bad the horse kept getting scared.
Sir James, his joust lance literally we keep saying literally. His joust lance exploded like
twice,
3 times before he even hit his opponent.
Yeah, it was pre-rigged. It was set up.
Pre-rigged. Sir James was the people's champion. He is every year. And the royal court always makes him out to be a bad guy, but he's not. He's my knight. Sir James, I'm Sir James's top guy. Sir James chose me to lead the Peasants' Revolution.
Nah, you're crazy, bro. You're crazy. I was with Dane Jessica all the way. First off, the refs are plants. First off, federal agents.
Biops.
Royal
secondly, no, I know what I said. And also they said, hey, we're going to have 1 female knight and 2 male knights. And also we decided to give the female knight the horse that's only done this sport for 2 days.
I felt really bad because they're like, yeah, the horse is brand freaking new. And I was really upset because the horse kept getting scared. And so I felt bad for the horse. And I also felt bad for her because she couldn't compete because the horse kept getting scared.
Exactly. And so they told us at the beginning and they're like, you're supposed to root for Dane Jessica. And I was like, all right, sick. I'm so for it. And then they were like, and also she has this horse. And I was like, you should have opened with that.
I'm pretty sure us screaming did not help the horse's nerves.
No.
Hey, Sir James was riding Billy, who is truly the people's champion.
I thought that was Bucket.
No.
No, Bucket is the mascot.
No, Bucket is the guy who's always on the right side of the audience, and he's their little cheerleader. He's the cheerleader.
Oh my god, I loved him.
Yeah. However, yeah, that's right. Peasant.
Sir James chose me to lead the Peasants' Revolution, Pertuset.
And you are a peasant. We sat with the queen.
Yeah, Jordan, Taryn, and I were cool enough to pay $10 each and
for the free joust.
and sit.
We got a drink.
We got a drink, and
beverages.
we were in the shade.
We were in the shade. We got to hear everything everyone said, which I think goes heavily underrated because I guarantee out in the audience you could not hear every word that was said, especially of the knights.
Not every word.
Getting to hear the knights banter was really, really cool.
The knight banter was so good. There was a part where they kept trying to one up. Well, the 2 hosts kept trying to one up each other by bringing them different offerings to the queen for a promotion. I guarantee they didn't hear a word of what each was saying. They just saw them bringing bags up.
No, I heard like half of it.
That's
We
It's a
heard
lot
all
better.
of it.
It was
We got
really
to watch
good
him
when
put the guy in the cart and put the bag over his head.
Yeah, when you
Yeah,
got to
see,
see the
I
guy run
missed
away.
that part where they put an entire man in a sack, so it was a real big shock when they brought it up and then an entire man came out of the sack.
It's a good bargaining chip, and honestly.
It was,
But, that was a good time. And then that was about it. Now, unless I'm forgetting anything, should we start talking about some of the complications?
I already
Sure.
went through all my complications. The passing out in the
Mhm.
parking lot was my big loss for the day, but we came back. We're all
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
Just the sheer inability of communication was
Yeah, now I
something
need to hear
Oh
what
my
happened with you
God.
guys.
we all
Um,
woke up to go to Ren Fair at about 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay, not all of us woke up at 8 o'clock, but we have a early bird amongst our troop who always wakes up at about 8 o'clock, and it's very hard to not wake up with him because he sets alarms for
Yes.
8 o'clock.
Yes.
So my car, which was me plus 3 people, one of which was Taryn, all get up at about 8 o'clock. We all do our morning stuff. We brush our teeth. We get ready to go. We get on our outfits. We get everything down into the car. And we're leaving alongside Pertuset in his car at like around 9,
Which
probably.
we actually left
Yep.
before they did.
Yeah.
True,
But
because
like
it was our
literally like
apartment.
Yeah.
like
But that is
30
important,
seconds ahead
though.
of them.
But that is
Mhm.
important. Yes.
So we're leaving. And it's not even 9. It's like 8:50. We're actually a little bit ahead of schedule because we said the night before, oh, we're going to leave around 9 o'clock. So we're a little early.
Mhm.
So I just start driving. Taryn's in shotgun next to me. And I say, Taryn, you're in shotgun. So you are the navigator. You're going to get it up on the phone and take us there. You're going to tell me which way I'm going because I normally don't drive to Ren Fair. This is actually, I think, maybe my first or second time driving there personally. I think it was my first, actually. So I was like, okay, Taryn, you're going to be the navigator. You're going to take me there. So we start going and we're going through all these back roads in the middle of Ohio. That is normal. That is usually the way you go to get to Ren Fairs. You go through a bunch of back roads in Ohio to get there. If you're coming from the direction we were, which is like we were coming from the direction of the center of Ohio to get there.
Mhm.
But at some point, we in my car appear to have taken a wrong turn.
See, I'm not even sure if we did or if Maps was just stupid. But
Well, if Maps was stupid, then we took a wrong turn.
yes, yes, but yeah.
But because what ended up happening was, I actually haven't explained this in great detail to the people who weren't in my car, but we're on the back roads, and then at one point, Maps says, you're going to make a right onto this road. And the road is not like a 2-lane road. It's like a 1-lane, almost looks like a driveway road. And everyone in my car is like, huh? Are we sure we're supposed to be on this road? I was like, huh? Are we sure we're supposed to be on this road? And Taryn's like, that's what it's saying. So I say, okay. And I turn down the road. We start going down it. We pass like 1 or 2 houses. It's even more back roady than like the one we were on. And it keeps taking us like on these really sharp, like almost backwards angled turns that I'm having to really heavily slow down to get on. And I'm getting off of all these weird intersections. And there's no cars, by the way. There's like no cars out here. Which usually Ren Fair time, even though you're on back roads, you find like a couple other cars around you because they're also traveling to Ren Fair. So usually they're on the same routes. No one out here. We are alone. Honestly, it was almost kind of like we entered into like a liminal space or something for a minute, just the 4 of us. And we keep going. And I'm like, Taryn, I keep looking around just to see if I can see Ren Fair on the horizon anywhere, but I'm not seeing anything. And Taryn's like, I know. It says we're 30 minutes out. And I was like, what? We're 30 minutes out? We've been driving for like, and so, okay, we're 30 minutes. So then we keep going. And eventually it has me pull onto the highway. Now, normally you never get onto the highway if you're going from the direction that we were heading to get there. So then, once again, I am like, huh? are we sure this is the way we're supposed to be going? Taryn, is this the way we're supposed to be going? And Taryn's like, this is what it's telling me. This is what is okay. We get on the highway. We start driving. I'm pretty sure at some point I asked Taryn again, hey, how far out are we? And this is like 10 minutes after I asked it previously, and both
still
times
30
it
minutes.
said 30 minutes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
So
What
funny.
happened?
then, oh wait, no, it doesn't even, this
Oh,
isn't
it gets
even it yet.
worse.
We're still going, and we're starting to get to an exit that we need to take. Not even the exit that like we're not even close to Ren Fair yet. We're just getting on an exit to get off of the highway, and it's backed up. Like maybe
Really
half a
far.
mile down from where the exit is, it's backed up. So all of the cars going up to the exit start pulling off into the shoulder so that the highway can keep going. So we're stuck in a line. And the whole time we're in the line, we're hypothesizing about why this line could possibly be here. And our worst fear was that it was the line to Ren Fair, which would have been awful because it would have been like actually several miles long. But honestly, it was kind of almost even worse. No, there was not an extensive line to, or well, there was a line to Ren Fair, but the line was actually moving pretty often. The line to Ren Fair wasn't that bad. We were not in the line to Ren Fair. There was simply just so much traffic on the highway on that day that the exit, which did not have a light or a stop sign or anything at it, the exit was just a go when there's like no one coming. And there was so much traffic coming along the overpass that the exit connected to that there was just no chance ever for anyone to get off the exit because people were coming off of that overpass to go to Ren Fair.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
see, what's so funny about this too is like 5 minutes before we get to that exit, Levi jokingly says that we should pull off onto another exit that leads through Wilmington. That would have led onto that specific
We
overpass.
would have
that
gotten
would have
there
been
like 30 minutes
faster.
sooner if I had gone through with my joke. But
Yes.
normally that would have been slower, but in this circumstance it wasn't. So we end up getting up all the way to the end of the exit and we turn off. The entire time I'm being a little stink because I'm the driver, and you know, it's kind of hard not to be upset when you're in a situation like that. Thankfully though, my other passengers say, you're being very entertaining right now, Levi, and honestly it's made the whole experience a lot better. Because I wasn't directing my anger at them, I was directing my anger at everything around us.
Mhm. Yeah, he was directing his anger at what the people going to the Colorado convention.
Yes, there
Yeah.
Colorado.
we were doing your meme every once in a while when we saw random license plates. And then we finally get to Ren Fair. We have to park considerably far back. I later had to find that out again because I forgot how far back we parked. And then we got there and we got in finally. But yeah, no, we got there like, oh yeah, to bring you back to the beginning of the story. Remember, my car and Pertuset's car left the place we were staying at the same time. We got there like 30 minutes after Pertuset.
Yeah, enough time
We-
for us to get food and go back
Yeah.
and find seating.
Yeah.
And also eat. We had like finished
And eat
eating
it,
by the
yeah.
time we found them.
And I remember after we sat down too, Pertuset and I were talking about it, and we were like, we kept looking for each other on the road because we had left very close to each other, and we figured that like we at some point might pass each other, or we might just have been close the entire time. No, like at a certain point, we just lost each other completely, and never saw each other again because apparently we took two completely separate routes to get there.
Yep. Oh, I don't have much more to add to that, other than actually I have one big thing, but I simply rode with TJ, all the way there, just him and I. We chatted. I normally am the driver for our big trips if it's a one car load, because I like being the driver guy, because I get mad easy and it's funny.
It is funny.
And I'll ramp it if Dylan tells me to.
Oh my God.
Thank God I've never been in the car for that.
Yeah, true. You think your heart rate spiked at Ren Fair.
Ramp it. I'm ramping it.
I did ramp it. Don't have that car anymore, but
Not because of the
Um,
ramping it though.
Oh, they don't need to know that. But see, I just ride with TJ, and I because I'm the driver most of the time. I knew my route. I knew where I was going. I was like, I know this route. It's easy. I took it. And of course, the big difference, or what was it? No, wait. I had maps. Did you also just have maps, or did you have?
What were you using, Taryn?
Google Maps.
Okay, no, I used the same map software. Um, but yeah, I just took my route and I made it way before them, even though we left slightly spaced apart. I will say the one big thing is when we drew up the lines in the sand the night prior, we said, okay, my car will consist of myself, TJ, and Taryn.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the morning came, and Levi was like, my car's ready. And so Taryn said, I'm leaving. I can't wait another second. And we see what happened.
And that inevitably, yeah, it inevitably
You had to
doomed
wait
us,
a step.
apparently.
That was
I'm
well, honestly,
sorry.
if you want to run it back even further, I never wear jeans ever, ever, ever. If you see me at our events, you know this. So I'm struggling to put my costume, quote unquote, on. Not even the jeans, but the belt. I also never wear a belt ever, ever, ever. So I'm sitting here trying to figure out like how does this work? Trying to put it on, which made me a little bit late. Even though I was early, like I ended up leaving at 8:57. We were supposed to leave at 9, but I was hoping I would be done way earlier. And so this was a domino effect of me never wearing a belt led to Taryn leaving with Levi, led to them getting there 30 minutes later.
The butterfly effect.
Oh,
I can't remember if there's anything else worth mentioning. Oh, leaving it was a hassle for our car. I don't know if you guys had any trouble leaving.
I just
Fair.
straight
No.
up left. I got none of these traffic issues. I drove on the highway. I got there for the opening ceremony and I walked directly in the front gates, and then I left and I drove directly out and went home.
We
nope,
didn't get a
we
picture
had
with
a
the
we had a
queen.
relatively easy time getting out, but I did cheat the system a little bit. I didn't go out the like exit that was closest to where we were. I drove all the way across the parking lot to the other side because there were less people over there, and then
Oh,
pulled
yeah.
out that way, and we got out really quick.
See,
What happened?
where Levi got shackled with box sword and took straight to car, which led to my roommate, my dear TJ, was like, I don't want to be inconvenienced with all that. I'm gonna get the sword last thing. So after the jousting, we're done and we're taking some pictures and then leaving. Everybody leaves except for me and Taryn and TJ. TJ
Mm-hmm.
gone, dashed
Oh,
to the
yeah.
wind. We don't know where he went.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Because-
I left while you were
He
still waiting for him because you were like, yeah,
Yes,
he's 5 to
He
10
didn't
minutes
tell
away.
you?
Well, bro he said, I'm getting a sword, I'm getting ice cream, maybe another turkey leg, and I gotta go to the bathroom. So we were like, okay, there's many places he could be. But he also split up before we found a place to wait for him. So he didn't know where we would be.
Dang.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the fair's
So-
got to close eventually. Eventually, you'll all be kicked
Well,
out and
that's
sitting at the front gate.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
No.
So,
Mm-hmm.
No.
so Tad and I
Yep.
are sitting where we last saw you guys, and we're sitting there chatting, and there were some people uncomfortably close to us, but there were also some people comfortably close to us, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
This is
we eventually were like, let's just go to the car because it was hot out. We wanted to take off, or I wanted to take off some of my stuff, namely the belt. But so I'm like, let's just go to the car. He's got to get to the car eventually. He has to go to the car, right? So we go to the car. Taryn goes to the bathroom real
You
quick.
underestimate. He can walk home.
He couldn't not, I don't think. So we get in the car. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make it easier for him. I'm gonna drive up to the exit because we were quite a far way away from the entrance to Ren Fair. So I drive up there and we're waiting. And I'm having Taryn try to text him and me try to text him, but we don't have any service. And he doesn't have any service either. So we're looking around and we're seeing all the people coming out of Ren Fair and we're looking at the clock and we're like, oh, Ren Fair is closing. Still don't have TJ.
Oh
And eventually, miraculously, a signal comes through, and TJ's like, yeah, I'm waiting at where the car was, but I don't know where it went. Oh,
Pertuset, someone stole your car.
yes! He thought, he was sitting there, and he was like, I swear it was right here. Oh,
my god.
Oh, it was so funny. It was just the worst chain of events that could have possibly happened.
How
Yeah.
long had he been waiting at the place where the car used to be?
I don't know. I
We
have
don't
no
know.
idea.
We were
No
waiting
idea.
out in the car for a good
Oh
like
my
30 minutes.
God.
Yeah. After waiting inside for like probably 20 minutes.
Mm,
Man.
So, but then we get him and we drive and it's fine. But just, I think the moral
so
of this
funny.
story is bring a walkie-talkie to
I-
Ren Fair.
I'm
Don't
buying
switch up
walkie-talkies.
your car plans the
Yes.
day of because apparently it curses you. It,
Yeah.
Because I
And
will
if
be
you-
getting walkie-talkies and we will take them to Colossal Con and Renaissance Fair.
Good. And finally, I will say, if you are not driving yourself to and from Ren Fair, don't get stuff right before you leave. Please. Do it throughout the day, suck it up and hold the box for like an hour.
or you can take it back out to your
Walk it
car
to the
and
car.
then
Or
behold a
walk it
man.
to the car. Oh. That's about all I've got.
That's Ren Fair.
Yeah, that's Ren Fair. We had a really good time.
We always have a good
complaining
time.
about because we have really funny like bad thing stories, but it was a really good time. We got to meet the alternate
True.
D&D party. We hung out. It was a good day.
I don't think the audience has any reference for what the alternate D&D party means in this
Well,
circumstance.
I know,
It's like
and it's
the
gonna be
Mandela
cryptic.
catalog.
That's exactly what I thought of when you said it, and I think that's what I'm gonna leave it
That's what
at.
I was meaning to say.
I'm getting uncomfortable. Should I start? I'm gonna start.
Hey, we hope you enjoyed the episode you just listened to. If you really like our content, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications on YouTube, and look for us on Spotify. If you'd like to see us continuing to do more fun projects in the future, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can find our page linked in the description above all of our other social media links. And finally, if you'd like to keep up with the zany shenanigans of our lives and check out some more skit-based content and things like that, check us out on Twitter and TikTok, links in the description. And hey, thanks!